Hi, I'm Dr. Bertice Berry, and I need to tell you a story. From the time I entered graduate school, I've heard things like, "Oh, you're getting a PhD? That stands for Pilot Higher and Deeper." And just because you have all these degrees, it doesn't mean anything. And book smarts doesn't mean anything in the real world. And you hear all this anti-intellectualism. That's really not a good term for that. Study, anti-study, anti-going deep, anti, because to be anti-intellectual, I think you'd have to be a little bit intellectual. Anyway, that's just me. Um, and I find it fascinating. I remember growing up in church, and if somebody wanted to go to get a degree in theology, folks would say, "You don't need theology, you need neology." And so it's as if you cannot have both. You can't have common sense, which is literally using your senses to extrapolate information. Um, it's as if you cannot have both. Anyway, I was watching a documentary on Da Vinci, who was not allowed to go to college, even though he really wanted to go to school. He was not allowed to go to school because he was what people call illegitimate, which is always fascinating to me, because your mother and father were not married, and therefore back in those days you could not go to school. It was only for the landed gentry or whatever. So he became a disciple of experience. Practically every experience he had, he would break it down and study it deeply. If this, then that, then this, then that. And of course, he went to trade schools. He studied under many people who were exceptional at their craft and would quickly surpass them because he studied so deeply. And what I try to encourage people to understand is that even if you're not in a formal school, a structured school setting, you can be a disciple of study. You can still study deeply. Most folks who get advanced degrees become lifelong learners, and people without advanced degrees become lifelong learners. So, I very often hear this anti education rhetoric. Um, and it, it's kind of difficult to express, not because it's hard for me to convey it or to articulate it. It's difficult to express because I'm talking to many people I don't know. And so you don't want to get things confused for those who don't understand what I'm saying. But what I want to say is that I rarely hear my colleagues who spend many years in rigorous learning, and then even after they have the degrees, continuing in that kind of rigorous learning. I rarely hear them sit around amongst themselves, coming up with sayings and names to make fun of people who did not get degrees, who did not go to college, who are not engaged in deep study. It is always fascinating to me that those who did not do, not all of them obviously, but anytime somebody wants to say to my face, "Oh, your PhD is just, your BS is BS, and the PhD is just piling the BS higher and deeper." People, even if you did not go to school, be a disciple of some kind of learning that allows you to look deeply at something, so deeply that you want to know more. I love you.